Samantha from Jessima Tutorials here, and today I'm going to show you how to create 2 pairs of earrings using a couple of tools, but mostly just your hands. Now, I'm going to be using Prima polymer clay today, and I'm using black and white, and both of these pieces were rolled out to about 1mm thick, or the middle setting of my pasta machine. And what you're going to need is a range of circle cutters, just graduated sizes anyway, and try to get as many as you can, and this is the only tool that we're really going to need. And what I'm going to do is, this one I'm going to use for the other pair of earrings, but I'm going to use this range. Let me see, where's my, here we go. Just grab me a piece of paper, and I'm going to use that to just quickly burnish the clay down onto the tile. That way it will stick and won't stick in the cutters. And I am going to cut out 2 of each size from each colour. Okay, then I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut 2, 1 from each piece of clay. And put this to the side, and that's all I'm going to need for the moment. Okay, and then from this point on you don't need to worry about distorting. If anything, it's going to be encouraged. And what I recommend doing is these 2, pop them to the side, work with those in a moment. And for these, what I want you to do is I want you to take each one and I want you to give it a good squish with your fingers like so, so that you imprint your fingerprint onto it. Then pop that to the side. Generally I'll put it on a piece of paper, and then I'm going to do that for each disc. And if you work with the white first or the black first, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure when you swap over to the other colour that you give your fingers a clean, because you don't want to transfer that colour over. And if you didn't want fingerprints as the texture, you could use a different texture stamp. Just sandwich it between 2 texture stamps and you'll be able to get a similar result. But today the theme is going to be fingerprints, because usually we avoid those, and I thought it would be fun to do a project that actively encourages them. Okay, and it would be the same process for the larger discs as well. What I would recommend though is just tapping around the edges to begin with, because they're quite large, and then when you do squish them, actually roll your finger so that you get all sides. And there we go. Okay, and I've just got those to the side. Just bring those over. And those are all of the little pieces. You're going to keep them exactly like that. They're going to bake as they are, like this. And then after they're baked, they're going to get antiqued. And now for the other pair of earrings, because we're making 2 pairs, I also want to cut out a little bit of this black, and everything I'm doing here you would do with the white as well. So I'm going to cut out a certain amount, and then I am going to take that and I'm going to cut out the same amount from the white. That way I can make sure that both of the beads are exactly the same size. There we go. Then take each of those and just form it into a log of clay. You want it 1 piece of clay. If you need to, you can roll it into a ball to get everything compacted together. If you have any off colour, you can just kind of shave that off. Okay, and then once you've got it into 1 piece of clay, just give that a roll. Okay, like so, and just round out those edges, and then take that and position that so that it can go across three of your, I believe, where your knuckles are, and then close the round into a fist and give it a good squeeze. And that is going to create a bead. And then you're going to do the same process for the other colour. Try to get it the same size and into the same position so that you get a similar looking piece. Okay, and there we go. That's what you should end up with. And you're going to take that and just place it also onto the piece of paper, and they're going to get strung with these little discs. And actually, looking at this now, I might want to swap those discs down to a smaller one. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take these, put them back, and I'm going to cut out smaller discs and just make another one of these in each colour for these two. Okay, there we go. Then I'm going to place this into the oven for about 40 minutes at Primo's recommended temperature. And then once they're baked, we're going to antique them so that we can really highlight the texture, and then seal and assemble. Okay, and here they are out of the oven once they've cooled. So now the next step is essentially going to be to take these and grab some acrylic paint, and I'm using black and white acrylic paint. And I'm basically going to antique each of these pieces with the opposite colour. So white will have black paint, black will have white paint. And all you're going to do, so let's start with the black paint. Just pop a little bit of that down. And just grab a brush. And you want to coat the whole thing in paint, the entire surface. And to begin with, you're not going to highlight the texture at all. That's going to come from the next step. For now, you want to just coat the entire piece in the colour of paint that you've chosen. Then pop it to the side and allow it to dry. And then you would repeat the process with all of the white pieces, then swap over to white paint and do all of the black pieces. And then once you've done that, then move on to the step of cleaning the paint off, because for the next step you want the paint to be dry. Okay, and once you've done that, the ones that you first worked with should be dry. Then you're going to grab some sandpaper, and it needs to be dry sandpaper. So I use the 800 grit polishing cloth, and you just need to literally swipe it over the surface. You don't need to be doing any kind of heavy duty sanding here. It just is to remove that top layer of paint. And the reason you don't want it to be wet is because it will reactivate the paint and will end up smudging the image or clearing the paint away out of the image completely. So definitely work with dry sandpaper. You could even use a rough cloth if you wanted to. I find the sandpaper does it quick, but if you don't have the correct sandpaper or would prefer using it, a rag works just as well. And there we go, that is literally it. That's going to highlight the pattern. And the same goes for this bead. You're just going to go over that and you're going to give it a good old sand, and that's going to start to expose the underlying pattern. And this is why I like the polishing paper as well, is because I can actually kind of manipulate it into those smaller areas, and that can make it a little easier to get that paint off. Alright, and then once we're done with this, I want you to put these into the oven for at least 5 minutes in a preheated oven, because that is going to heat set the paint. Because right now the paint, as you can see, comes off with very little to no pressure, and I don't want to seal these because I want the pieces to remain with a matte finish. And so the best way to make sure that that paint sticks and stays onto the clay is to heat set it. And even if you were going to use a varnish, I would still recommend heat setting it, just because the paint might move around when you apply the varnish. Okay, and then once they're baked, you're pretty much good to give them a drill. And you're just going to grab a little handheld pin drill, and for at least the graduated pieces, you're going to pop a hole at the top and the bottom for all except the last piece, that being the smallest piece. There we go. And I have already drilled the holes for the other ones, and the only one that doesn't have a 2 holes is the smallest piece. And then you can link them together, and that's quite easy. You just grab jump ring and you slip that through one of the holes, grab the next one and slip that through as well. Okay, and then close that up, and there we go. And that's essentially the process that you're going to go through. You're just going to keep linking each of them together. And you could choose to alternate between the black and the white fingerprint discs, but I'm just going to keep to the single colors. And then instead what I think would look nice is if you wore one black earring and one white earring. And I'll show those off in a moment once I've finished with this one. Okay, and after you've linked the last one, then just straighten everything up. Grab your ear wire, in this case again another antique copper one, and I'm going to link that through. Don't even need a jump ring, because these discs are quite thin. And there we go. That is essentially how you'd create the one lot of earrings. And I have done both of the blacks, and I have done both the whites. I'll bring those over. There we go. And then it's very much the same process for the other ones, that being these over here. But what you do is you just drill the hole at the top of the fingerprint bead, and then you link them together. But yeah, it's pretty much the exact same process. And for these ones I did decide to alternate the black and the white, that being one fingerprint bead in the black, then the white disc, and then same with this one. But yeah, you can put together whatever combination you want. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Very simple, but I would say quite effective, and also quite a nice way to make a personalized piece of jewelry, because obviously no one else can recreate it exactly the same, because it is textured literally with your fingerprints. So I thought that would be a fun way to play around with fingerprints, because usually those are things that you want to avoid in the polymer clay. So I thought it was a cool idea to actually incorporate them. But yeah, let me know if you liked the tutorial. If you did, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing, as I do videos like this pretty much every single day. And if you have suggestions for future videos or questions, leave them in the comments below and I will get to those as soon as possible. And if you'd like to support the channel so I can continue creating videos just like this one, please do consider becoming a member. There is a join button just below the video, or there is a link to my Patreon account where I do more complex tutorials. Both the membership on YouTube and Patreon are both exactly the same, and are greatly appreciated. And again, I do hope that you enjoyed the tutorial, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.